Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here talking about the real world of Formula 1 once again. And like I said, obviously it is Friday, therefore hopefully on the channel we are going to get some consistent real life Formula 1 talks and discussions going here on the channel. Now a couple of weeks back obviously we kicked off this series with our 2020s bold predictions, and obviously a big thank you for the support on that video. I know the channel's in a bit of a weird state at the moment, but yeah, that video managed to pick up over 1,000 views, so yeah, big thank you to all of you guys that did watch that video and did enjoy. And obviously if you guys are new around here as well, do get yourself subscribed if you want to watch more real life Formula 1 content on the channel. But yeah, obviously in that video we spoke about my predictions for the next decade in Formula 1, and one of the most requested features from that video was just to make my F1 2020 bold predictions. Now obviously this one, there's probably a few more things that can be safely predicted. You know, some of these, to be honest, aren't too bold, and throughout the course of this video I'll probably explain why, why I've made the predictions I have that probably aren't as brave or as unlikely as I think some people are predicting them to be. But obviously today we have, yes, got 5 predictions for the F1 2020 season. Over the next couple of weeks, I have listened to your guys' advice as well. I am hopefully going to be working with someone else on some content as well. We're going to have a bit of a discussion-based side of things, everything like that as well. And yeah, really looking forward. I've got a lot of ideas for different discussion points I want to raise on the channel over the next couple of months. So yeah, like I said, if you're new around here, do get yourself subscribed. But I'm going to waste no more time then, and let's jump in to number 1. Now, obviously, with it only being 5 predictions, I can't make predictions about every team. Like I said, though, I'm going to actually hopefully be making a series with someone else in the near future where we are going to discuss where we think each team is going to go. But for 2020, my prediction number 1 is Renault are going to fall back even further. Yes, I know, obviously, coming into 2019, Renault made this whole big deal about how they were going to challenge Red Bull and Ferrari and Mercedes in the top 3, and that's just never happened once this season. It never looked close to happening, in all honesty. With the resources Renault have got, you'd probably expect them to be right there, but I'll be honest, I think it's going to be 2021. They could make that big step forward to get closer to those teams. Now, there are a couple of different reasons to this. Personally, I think, Ocon coming into the team, although I think that is quite an interesting move. Like I said, that'll be discussed further in another video. I think it's going to unfortunately set them back a little bit at the start of the season. Now, we've had these articles coming out, Ricciardo spending more time at the factory with the simulator and everything like that pre-2020, and I'm sure that'll help as well. But I think what we're going to see from Renault is a lot of force coming from, the chair, the board, everything like that. That, they want to see the results. So I think we're going to see Renault potentially show up with a fairly respectable package, back up towards McLaren at the start of the season. But then I think they're very going to quickly, going to shy away from that and focus on 2021 with the new regulations and really try to go for there. Now, whether we'll see that happen or not is a very different question. Obviously, we could see Renault, like we saw with the last couple of years, where they said, yes, we've made these big upgrades, we're really going to hassle the top runners, and then completely not. That'll be, we'll wait and see about that in the near future. That's crazy to think that's just over a year away, the new 2021 regulations. But yeah, coming in then at prediction number 1, I am thinking Renault. I think whether they'll hold on to P5 is a different question, but I think we're going to see teams like Racing Point. Obviously, Toro Rosso is always a bit of a weird one to try and predict. Haas, potentially, I want to say Williams, but I can't bring myself to say Williams as well. We're going to see those guys really get very close to Renault, and I think we're going to see McLaren get further away from them towards the top 3. Now, coming in then at prediction number 2, sort of leading on from that discussion quite nicely, I believe the midfield are going to be once again even closer and even more mixed up. And in that, I'm going to say Williams are going to score points on more than one occasion. Now, this one, yeah, personally, I really would like to see. It's been sad watching Williams over the last couple of years. And, I worry for people like George Russell, obviously, who's never really getting that chance to prove himself. Now, this year was obviously made increasingly difficult. Robert Kubica, unfortunately, fortunately for them, he did score their 1 championship point, but it was a bit odd, obviously, where he was by far and away their slower driver for the most half of the season. But I'm going to say, yeah, Williams are going to make a bit of a resurgence of form, get back up towards the midfield. Whether we'll also see, like we saw before the turbo hybrid era, where they sort of fell towards the rear of the field and then made a little bit of progress, and then going into a new regulation change, they really innovate, everything like that. We will wait and see about that. But yeah, I'm going to say we're going to see Williams score points on more than one occasion in 2020. Now, next up then, in at prediction number 3, this one, I'm intrigued to know what you guys think. Obviously, like all of these predictions, leave me your thoughts and feelings in the comments below as well. Obviously, this is meant to be more of a discussion-based series, and I really want to know what you guys are feeling towards these ideas as well. But I'm going to say Red Bull are going to finish second in the Constructors, ahead of Ferrari. Now, obviously, we saw Max Verstappen in 2019, obviously able to finish third in the World Championship. The Ferrari explosion throughout quite a few races, over the course of the season. There seemed to be a bit of a resurgence of form after the summer break, and that just fell flat very, very quickly. And obviously, Max Verstappen, yeah, able to finish third overall in the title. I'm going to say, Alexander Albon, hopefully he's going to be a bit more settled in that team, everything like that. I believe Red Bull are only just, in all fairness, but I believe, Red Bull are going to beat Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship, and by the end of the season have a quicker car as well. Now, we often see this from Red Bull. They seem to get quite close, able to challenge Mercedes and Ferrari in the last few rounds of the season. Head to Australia again for the start of the new championship, and they're another half a second off the pace. Now, I don't know why this happens. I would love to know why this happens. I'm sure Red Bull would love to know why this happens as well. But it just seems to be the cycle of Formula 1 in recent years. Now, obviously, 2020, we've seen some of the smallest amount of regulation changes I think we've seen, at least in my memory, of Formula 1. So I think there's going to be a lot less movement around the field. But yeah, I think Red Bull are going to be that much closer to Ferrari at the start of the season. And, we always see it from Red Bull. They're able to develop the car very, very quickly and put a lot of upgrades on. I think Honda, once again, are going to make good progress in 2020. And yes, I'm going to say Red Bull are going to beat Ferrari to the Constructors' Championship. Oh, sorry, second even, I should say, in the Constructors' Championship. And obviously that sort of leads on to prediction number 4 then. And that is, Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton are going to go 7 in a row there. Yes, personally, I believe, I think it's a little bit odd from Mercedes towards the end of 2019. We sort of saw, Abu Dhabi. I think a lot of people have already forgot that race. Hamilton dominated by quite convincing fashion at the end of the day. And we sort of see it from Mercedes as well. They get towards the end of a season, and then suddenly they've, you always get that sense, at least me personally with Mercedes, like they've got another half a second, 3/4 of a second just left in upgrades at the factory that they only really put on the car when they need to. Obviously, they always seem, it's like a game of chess. Mercedes always seem to be that one step ahead. But personally, I think we're going to see Mercedes take home and Lewis Hamilton take home World Championship number 7. Now, in this, I've also got Mercedes to find another 3/4 of a second on the car and dominate the first half of the season. Now, when I say dominate, I don't mean in the same way that, we have seen in the past, obviously, like this season, for example, where obviously they took, 8 wins in a row. I think we're going to see, Red Bull and Ferrari may be able to sneak in here and there in the early stages of the season. Arguably, we should have seen that last year. Bahrain, obviously Charles Leclerc should have won that race. Baku again, he was looking very, very strong. Canada as well, another race as well, where really Mercedes, they were obviously in the right place at the right time as well. They've clearly put the work in for when those sorts of things happen. But whether they deserved the race victory is a bit of a different question as well. But yeah, personally, I'm going to say Mercedes are going to win at world title number 7 alongside Hamilton. And it's really, really going to be interesting to see how close he can get to some of Schumacher's other records. We've obviously got the most wins ever in Formula 1. Obviously, world title number 7. He's already got the poles. Grand Slams as well. That'd be brilliant to see as well. Now, in bold prediction number 5, then this one's sort of moving away from the teams, moving more to Formula 1 itself. Zandvoort is going to be a flop. Now, this one is not a prediction I really want to make, but having, done some sim racing on Zandvoort, and obviously sort of seeing the small amount of changes they're trying to make to the track, unfortunately, I'm going to predict Zandvoort to be a complete flop, and Vietnam actually to be quite a crazy race. Now, Vietnam, I think literally yesterday or the day before, they announced that the whole paddock area is now completed, ready to go, everything like that. Now, I'm sure, really, for the sake of Formula 1, it needs to be the other way around. The Dutch Grand Prix, Max Verstappen, it needs to be a huge, huge success. There needs to be a chaotic race, lots of overtaking, everything like that. But it's Zandvoort. And for those of you that have never done a lap around the track, haven't really seen the track, it is very, very tight and twisty. There aren't many big braking zones. It's just sort of a fairly middle speed track, really. And I think, yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be a bit of a bit of a procession. It's almost like, I'd say closely to Hungary is probably going to be my prediction, but the Armco barriers tend to be a whole lot closer as well. But yeah, personally, I think Vietnam, street circuit, there's a lot of discussions about the layout. Now, there aren't really that many 90-degree right-handers or left-handers, anything like that. I'm not too sure what people mean by that, but I think the back straight is going to be very, very crazy. There's still a fair bit of high-speed stuff going on and everything like that, which might make it a bit more difficult, but we've seen in towards the latter stages of 2019, cars able to stay a bit closer to each other in the dirty air. But yeah, that is bold prediction number 5 then. Vietnam is going to be a good race, and the Dutch Grand Prix, unfortunately, on the other hand, is going to be a bit of a flop. But there we are then, guys. Those are my 5 predictions for the F1 2020 season. Let me know down in the comments below what your guys' thoughts and feelings are to this as well. Obviously, let me know your opinions, everything like that. Give me some ideas as well for videos you potentially like to see talking about the real world of Formula 1 as well. But yeah, that'll do us for this video then, and hopefully I will see you guys next time for more Formula 1 content.